Candid Frank Live. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now joining me is Aaron William Freeland. Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
Good, and yourself, Frank?
Good. You look lovely today.
Why, thank you.
Collagen treatments?
Something like that.
Something like I'm just kidding. I had mine. Can't you tell? Okay, all kidding aside. So aside from that, how are you doing? Any news that we need to know about your hockey career? Has it advanced any, or are you?
Well, the playoffs start this Friday, so that'll be a lot of fun. Because the team that I play for locked up first place. We are going to be playing all of our games at 9 p.m. So we get the early games. So that's
okay.
a bit of a relief.
Yeah, so it's nighttime.
Yeah, Friday nights.
And how late do you play normally? 11 the last game?
Usually it's 9:15 and 10:30, and it's 3 stop-minute, 15-minute periods. So usually we end up getting done at around 11:30 midnight. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Well, listen. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
You're not the goaltender, though, right?
Oh, heck no.
That explains why your team finished first. I'm sorry.
You're not wrong.
That was my inside voice. It snuck right out. Just kidding. Anyway, I just kidding. Anyway, I did that on purpose. NHL GMs discuss playoff salary cap at Florida meetings.
So, as most of us will know, those who pay attention at any rate, this week is the start of the GM's meetings in Florida. So basically what's happening here is they're looking at the fact that Nikita Kucherov managed to sit out an entire 56-game season on long-term injured reserve and then notched 32 points in 23 playoff games. Some teams were, raising issue with the fact that they were technically speaking $18 million over the cap. Now, Brad Treliving has said that nobody thinks there's been an abuse of it to an extent that there's something that needs to be done, but it is something that teams need to be aware of. So.
Yeah, you know what? It is what it is, I guess. The Senators, McCarron scores twice at Predators as Predators beat the Canadiens 7-4.
Yeah, so this was a bit of a mismatch. Unfortunately, it started out close enough, but every game starts 0-0. So, but after trailing 4-1, Montreal scored 3 goals in under 2 minutes in the second period to tie it up. Thought they could hold it, but unfortunately, it went downhill from there. So another loss for St. Louis and the Habs, and actually led to some interesting byplay. Justin Bieber was playing a show in Montreal, and apparently some fans got testy, and he asked them how they liked their current playoff seating. He got booed.
Oh, well, you know how it is. You got to be careful about that. But then again, I guess he was a little bitter because Florida won. Leave it to Montreal to never give Toronto a hand.
Of course not. Why would they?
The Flames, Calgary 2.
Yeah, so Colorado beat Calgary 2-1. This is a clash of the 2 top teams in the Western Division, and very potentially what we're going to be seeing for the Western Division Finals. So very happy to see that. It looked absolutely fantastic. Now, Valerie Nichushkin actually came through with 2 power play goals, and Darcy Kemper got 44 saves as the Avalanche just edged out the Calgary Flames 2-1. But Jared Bednar says it was a gutsy win. I thought our team was highly committed to the defensive side of things. The power play stuff to help give them the win. So Central Division leading Colorado is 47-14-6. Kemper has now improved his record to 31-9-3.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Oilers as well.
Yeah. Now McLeod got 2. Oilers beat Arizona for their 7th straight home win. They finally seem to be rolling a little bit. I know Zach Hyman had a beautiful shift on the penalty kill where he ragged a puck all the way down the ice and back again and halfway back before passing it off. But yeah, it was pretty decent. Ryan McLeod had 2 goals and an assist, and they beat the Coyotes 6-1. Now, I think they were pretty motivated after having lost to Calgary 9-5 2 nights before. So glad to see them bounce back like that.
Canucks feeling a little blue.
Yeah. So St. Louis is now climbing up the standings thanks to the fact that they managed to hang a 4-1 loss on the Vancouver Canucks there. Tarasenko scored twice and had an assist to reach his 500 NHL point for the St. Louis Blues. Craig Berube was, of course, happy about that. Ville Husso made 35 saves for the Blues, who are now 36-20-9. So they're 1 point ahead of the Nashville Predators and 3 points behind the Minnesota Wild for second.
Kyle Dubas asked about officiating, responded.
Well, I don't know if some of you saw the video that's out there, but Dubas, of course, said it was just fine. I'm certain some reporters were trying to get him to try to blink twice if he was being held hostage about that sort of thing. One of the things the NHL actually made it very clear about going into these meetings, and it's been reported through other sources, so it's not just me pulling something out here. They have mentioned that teams will be heavily fined if anything comes out of these GMs meetings that's critical of the officiating. So a lot of teams have been biting their tongue when it comes to this sort of thing. But Dubas is saying that we wish that the way that Matthews played would draw more penalties. But he's currently sitting way down, 304th when it comes to the number of penalties drawn, as compared to Michael Bunting, who's third overall, having drawn 37 penalties. I'm guessing that the referees are figuring Michael Bunting draws enough that we don't have to call as many in favor of Austin Matthews. So it sort of balances it out that way. We'll manage the game somewhat.
No, I think there's a bias, and the bias is, I think it's rooted in the fact that I think one of the most hated teams in the National Hockey League is the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I really believe that.
I don't think it really is all of that hidden of a bias either, based on the fact that Taylor Hall hit Yabushkin in the head. And gave him a concussion with his right hand in his glove. According to NHL Rule 46.15, that sucker punch to the head of a player who's not suspecting it comes with a match penalty, 5 minutes, and an automatic game suspension. However, because nothing was called by the referees on that particular play, Hall got a $5,000 fine, which is the most that he can be fined under the current CBA. So, they get away with one there.
There's always an excuse when a Bruins up.
Well, they did give Brad Marchand 10. They did give Brad Marchand 10 minutes for cross-checking John Tavares and then chirping at the referees. So, I guess that's something. But let's be honest, the fact that the referees missed it and that no additional penalty was levied after.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. Since when does there have to be a penalty called for there to be a suspension?
This is true. They have done supplementary discipline before. I was waiting to actually see how fast the NHL announced something like that, because I know that it was partway through the third period when they announced that Matthews would be having an in-person hearing concerning his cross-check during the Winter Classic. So the fact that nothing was called here in a fairly obvious injury.
And it took a while for them to arrive at a conclusion that it needed to be considered. A little longer. But how often do we hear about we hear the media, we hear the announcers go, well, he'll probably get suspended for that, but we don't hear the league saying we're looking into it in the middle of a game.
Unless it's the Leafs.
Am
I wrong here? Jack Edwards was calling it a dive, but I think it's fairly obvious that after he didn't come back for the rest of the game, that it wasn't a dive there, Jack. So you need to put that in your pipe and just,
Well,
not happy with Jack Edwards either.
No, I get it. And he's a homer and an admitted homer, right? The problem is it's always appearances, right? That's what it comes down to. When people talk about, when you see that Matthews gets suspended after a game where he's interfered with and then a goal is scored and a game is won, you see that. Then you see him slew-footed. You can't blame people to say, forget about the Leafs, okay? I'm not talking about the Leafs now. I'm talking about Austin Matthews. That, he's not getting away with anything, but he
Nope.
is a victim of other people breaking the rules against him. And is it something in hockey that it is inherent in hockey that isn't like where Gary Bettman originally came from, which is basketball, where basketball protects their stars, where hockey doesn't? Is that what it is? Or does it depend which star we're talking about?
The prevailing sentiment seems to be here to protect the feelings of the referees. And
Yeah,
that's,
well,
I think, what is
they gotta have thicker skin.
well. Here's something that they're doing Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time at www.reddit.com/r/hockey. There will be an Ask Me Anything session with NHL referee Wes McCauley, which I have a feeling is going to be a bit of a tire fire. But
Well,
I'll be tuning in. So if anybody else wants to tune into a live Ask Me Anything with NHL referee Tim McCauley,
send me the link. I
I
gotta
will.
check this out too. It sounds awesome. California governor rejects parole for the Manson family. Oh,
Yes.
wait. Back to Matthews. I forgot to mention his 49th goal. How silly.
Yes.
He beat Boston, and he got the league. He has the league leading 49th goal.
Yeah, and it's amazing,
Another empty net goal.
Well, you're not going to complain about it. A goal is a goal is a goal. They don't ask how, they ask how many.
But he before these last few games, he wasn't out there for empty nets much.
No, he
right?
he wasn't.
Hyman was, and then you get Marner out there, and you get some other players are out there. Mostly players are not worried. They say, remember, if you listen to the media guys, the guys doing the calls and all that, they refer to the fact that the Leafs don't want Matthews out there because they're worried that he'll try to stop a shot, and you don't want him. He's had some injury issues, some bad luck with pucks, right, and sticks. So they're trying not to basically tempt fate.
This is true, but I mean, at some point, you've got to knuckle up and just sort of say, well, he's closing in on 50. You may as well try to get it for him.
Absolutely. So California governor rejects parole for Manson family member.
So this is one of the few things that I agree with California Governor Gavin Newsom on. On Tuesday, he blocked parole for Leslie Van Houten, reversing a panel's recommendation that she be freed after spending almost 50 years in prison.
Baby.
Van Houten is currently 72. Rich Pfeiffer, her attorney, disputed that view and said the decision was going to be appealed, even though Governor Newsom said he's overturned it. So,
yeah,
apparently they're of the belief
Sharon
that she's
Tate
reformed.
Murder and various murders in the Hollywood Hills. In fact, the Beatles wrote a song about that whole thing. So, the war is reshaping how Europe spends.
So after several decades of relative peace, a lot of countries in Europe are being forced to reconsider how they're spending in light of Russian aggression in Ukraine. This is taking a focus away from essentials like agricultural and energy and putting a focus on military and humanitarian assistance. Education and social services are likely to be cut as well for a lot of these European countries. So it's a watershed moment for a lot of these countries because they didn't think that they'd have to pivot like this again. So we'll have to see how the rest of this plays out.
The real estate boom's a big thing, and a lot of people's homes are worth a lot more. Unfortunately, for some, there's been a collapse from a real estate company affecting some 500 homes.
Yeah, this is about a company called Epic Alliance. They started buying up properties in and around Saskatoon and trying to revamp it and sell it. It's basically a fund to flip, hassle-free landlord program, and then fund to flip investor sort of circle sort of thing. Primarily BC and Ontario people are suddenly long distance landlords who are now responsible for all of these properties that they've been investing in because the company has gone bankrupt. The FCAA of Saskatchewan, or the Financial Consumers Affairs Authority, issued a temporary cease trading order in October. And in one of their Epic Hour videos in early January, it was revealed that the company had to shut down. There's a combined $115 million worth of properties, and that's all gone.
Quebec drivers who turn 75 need no longer be tested for their eyesight.
Now, this is a recent move by the Société de l'Assurance Automobile du Québec. They said that it's only going to be necessary for people who turn 80 now, as opposed to people who turn 75. The corporation has said that only 75-year-olds now only have to self-declare that they're able to drive, saying that this allows us to streamline and simplify our services and reduce bureaucracy so that there's less costs we have to pass on to the consumers.
RNC officer sentenced to probation, community service. He was brandishing a taser at his colleagues. Say what now?
Yeah, he's been handed 12 months of probation and ordered to do 50 hours of community service. Bernard Morgan received a conditional discharge on Monday after admitting he misused his firearm in an incident at the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary headquarters in St. John's in March 2021. Morgan apparently walked up to the front desk to chat with several of his colleagues. He sat down and described had pulled out his taser during a recent call for service. As he told his story, he activated the light and laser sight on it and aimed it at his colleagues. And he saw apparently that the taser was, one of his colleagues, saw that it was loaded and activated. But Morgan said he didn't really believe at first that activating the laser constituted an application of force, but admitted he did point it at a colleague. So there's that.
Quebec continues to report increases in COVID-19.
Yeah, so despite best intentions and the decision to act like the pandemic is over, unfortunately, 1,153 people are hospitalized. 135 have been admitted, and 97 have left hospital. There are 63 people in intensive care, and unfortunately, another 20 people that have passed. Now, it's registered 2,100 new COVID cases based on PCR testing. There's also an additional 1,347 new positive cases declared by the public via a self-reporting platform.
Wow, that's amazing. A BC doctor alleged to be opposed to COVID-19 regulations has been suspended.
So this is in regards to Dr. Stephen Malthouse, a family practitioner in Denman. We've mentioned him on the show before. We have switched to saying allegedly because it's currently under investigation, as opposed to before when we just reported straight up on his Facebook posts that were right there. So now that these incidents is under investigation, Malthouse has had his license temporarily suspended while the College of Physicians and Surgeons of BC is investigating the allegations that he had circumvented COVID-19 public health orders. Now, the reason why they suspended it is because they said they found a high likelihood that Malthouse would continue these actions based on social media posts.
So bye-bye. Durham cop who posted videos supporting Freedom Convoy facing Police Act charges.
So for those who aren't aware, there was a constable by the name of Erin Howard. She posted a video saying, "Hey guys, we're here for you. We love you." She's been charged with 2 counts of each of the following: discreditable conduct, insubordination, and breach of confidence. You know how you're always asking for accountability for police, Frank? Well, we are as a whole. This is the Police Act is one of those things where they can be held to account, mainly because she expressed support for the true heroes fighting for the rights and freedoms of all Canadians by opposing vaccine mandates. So
there's that.
There you have it.
This past couple of days, Eugene Melnick, the owner of the Ottawa Senators, passed away. Do your thing, and then I'll do mine.
Okay. So Eugene Melnick passed away on Monday. As many of you know, he is the much maligned owner of the Ottawa Senators. He bought them and their home arena in 2003 for $130 million when Rod Brydon, the previous owner, went bankrupt. Now, in between now and back then when he bought it, unfortunately, the team has gone through some tough times. There's been the infamous hashtag Melnick out. There has been a string of successes, a string of failures. He tried to build a new arena in 2019, and that failed. But for the most part, he's done the best that he can. Now, he was suffering from liver disease, and he got a transplant in 2015, which helped extend his life significantly, which is good. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And his family said that he passed away of an illness. They didn't specify what. Frank, I understand that you had a closer relationship with Eugene than most.
I worked for him for a year.
Okay.
Anybody's been to Bioville, they have a giant atrium, and I was his facilities manager for a year. I went there to help finish the project for a construction company, his building. The company I worked for built it, and I went in there at the end to clean up the job and get it going. When I got there, I got to meet the facilities manager that was there before I was. His name was Sid Zander. Sid went to play baseball, ended up with an Achilles tendon problem, ended up dying of a blood clot. They asked that I. This is very meaningful to me. They asked me if I would take over the board, so I did. And a guy came in from Eugene had horses, and he had a farm, all right, in Ocala, Florida. And the guy named Irv Zeckley was the old facilities manager before Sid took over, but he went and Eugene brought him to Ocala, and they started all Bioville together, all these guys, these three guys. And it's very emotional for me because I learned to really care about his two fellow employees. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because he's finally going to be reunited with Irv Zeckley and of course, Sid Zander. So Sid passed away, and so Irv Zeckley came up to Mississauga to follow me around. I was the construction guy, and he asked me if I would take the job. I knew nothing about being a facilities manager, but Irv had faith in me. So Irv said if I ever had a problem to call him, and I did. So I called him. A little while later, he was coming by vehicle, and he passed away in an accident on the highway. So this is very emotional for me. Emotional because Eugene Melnick and these two gentlemen, and there are other people, they started a company, Bioville, and they worked together, and two of those guys passed away. And I know how much Eugene loved those guys. And I got to tell you, I made a mistake, and I never got a chance to apologize to him. And I'm going to apologize to him now, wherever you are. When Sid died, the mayor of Mississauga, Bonnie Crombie, had a charity. And I bought this at the charity. It's Daryl Sittler's timesheet and a picture of him with Dave Reese scoring a goal coming around. He had a 10-point night. And I picked this up because Bonnie had a bunch of stuff auctioning so that, it was for brain damage, right? So I bought that on behalf of Sid. Unfortunately, I think I offended the owner of the Ottawa Senators by hanging that in my office, which when you come into reception, the first thing you saw was the Daryl Sittler poster inside the building of the owner of the Ottawa Senators. And we never really had a really good relationship. He never really talked to me. And I realize now afterwards that was why. But in my narrow focus, I was thinking he loved Sid. I bought this for Sid. He'll understand. The Ottawa Senators management team came in. They all came in the room, and they said, "Do you know who owns this building?" And I said, "Yeah." And they walked up to the Daryl Sittler thing, and they started talking about it. What I remember about Eugene is he was very competitive, but he was very nice. He could have given me, for doing what I'd done, but he never said a bad word to me. So Eugene, you had a tough life. And what people need to remember about Eugene as well is that he gave a lot of money to the hospitals downtown. One that I had to go to after an Argo game. He spent a lot of money on charity, and there was more to him than his reputation. So I'll be drinking one to you, Eugene, and I'm a very proud Ukrainian. I got to tell you that. And you know, my relationship with him wasn't the way I wanted it to be, and I'm sorry I never had a chance to apologize for putting that up in my office. I really didn't mean any harm by it, and I wish I could. And this is the story of when people pass away. That's why it's important that we do what we can before that happens. Anyway, that's my long-winded story.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Frank. I appreciate that. I'm sure Eugene's family would as well.
I know I do. All right. Well, that ends another show. Aaron, I really appreciate it. You seem to have frozen. I don't know if you're still frozen, but here we go. Aaron William Freeland. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Frank.
I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.